Chris Vassel. CV, pay attention.
Oh, hey guys, how you doing?
It's a good thing Alan Lawson didn't bring his trophies out. He wouldn't have enough hands to hold all the trophies that the Wizards have had. Chris, that may be Charlie's pixelated him out because of his nonsense. Chris Vassel, for those that don't know, Chris Vassel and I used to face off against each other in college back at the start when he played for UCF. I played. That's how long we've known each other.
Yes.
And then Chris went to the next level and played for life. Obviously, back down here, making a big impact with the Boca youth community. CV, give us what's your official title at the moment?
So I am vice president under Garth Duff Gray, and I just kind of help out with the recruiting and
carrying ball bags,
or doing any part I can do to help out the program or help out rugby and the growth of rugby within the community. So that's pretty much my role, for the Boca youth, and kind of liaison between the men and the youth side, and just to keep growing that culture, like Ale said earlier.
Yeah, give us a bit of your rugby background. I gave the brief.
I started playing. Yeah, I'll talk myself up. What's up, Darren? So I talked myself up. I started playing. I was a wrestler first, and then my wrestling coach was a rugby player, and he had us play rugby for preseason in high school. And I was like, oh man, this is fun. So I went away to wrestle in college up in Kansas, and it was too cold. I was like, hell no, I'm coming back down to Florida. So I came down. I went to Valencia and then played for UCF.
What year was this? I want people to hear how old you are. What year was that?
Listen, we're not gonna talk years here, okay?
Let's just say mid to late 90s, mid 90s.
Yeah, I'll take that one. I'll tell you what. When I started playing, there was no lifting in the lineup. You still jumped. So,
that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, that's it. And then as it progressed, as the game progressed, I fell in love with it, kept playing, and then I played on a lot of select sides in the South down here with Kevin Keto, and also a lot of other coaches in the area. Coach for University of Miami. He was my college, South coach, and then went on and got to play at Life, got a scholarship and went out there and played on some select sides across the country, and probably was right here, could have, but I had a good time and went to school, messed around, and got a college degree, and then down here I'm working now.
And now you played for Boca for a while. I think you still hit the field a little bit.
And I came here because Paul Goodkin and I played at Life together in 2000. Won our Super League championship, and then he came down, and then after some years later, I graduated, and then came down here, and I had a choice between Fort Lauderdale and Boca, and actually, Balls called me and says, "Hey man, come down to Fort Lauderdale," and then Good King and Joe Perez said, "If you go to Fort Lauderdale, you're disowned." So I came, and here I am. Played on
Life crew sticking together. As they tend to do. A great alumni base with the Eagles. There's no doubt about it. Talk about
completely.
So obviously your son Jordan is involved playing with rugby, and
yes.
we'll give Go All Day some promotion in a minute.
Okay.
A future sponsor, hopefully. But yeah, talk about your role now with Boca. Your son Jordan playing for the U19s, but he's only how old? Is he 16 now?
He just turned 16. He's playing for U19s, and obviously the reason the coaches decided to put him up there just because of his years playing and kind of skill set, He's
been playing since what age did he start playing?
He started playing at 6. Mark Patterson was his coach before he left and went to Wellington. And he started playing, especially with some of the kids that are still on the team. Jackson Patterson, who's now at Wellington, they all started together. Right when they're 6, and now he's 16, 10 years later, still playing at it. And, with his teammates like Logan Ballinger, they just keep climbing as they're kids and just developing and loving the game. So he's doing well. He's having fun. And, I told him not to tackle with his face anymore, and he learned his lesson this weekend.
Yeah, talk about Jordan and where some of the, you've been involved, I know, in some of the representative stuff as well, the All-Star stuff. Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so I started out with Matthew Hayden, and we were with the last year when it was the Florida Juice, and then it
Right.
transitioned into the Jaguares. It was Cappy was kind of the catalyst in keeping that Florida team growing and
Yeah.
going. And Alan Lawson said to bring him in if you want. Anyway,
Bring Alan
yeah,
in. Yeah,
okay,
bring Alan back in, Charlie. We can talk about. Well, let's talk about the Jaguares, because obviously the representative side of things was a bit of a mess for a while. I think
yeah, well,
everybody would be honest with that. There was egos in the way, and
yeah,
and,
and
and,
so
and coaching
what,
positions in the way, and people
right,
with other
yeah,
wishes other than the growth of these players. But now we seem to have come together. So tell
yeah.
us a bit about the Jaguares, guys.
So Alan, I'll just answer this before you take over. But the one thing that we were doing, it seemed like it was only South Florida, the South Florida teams, Wellington, Boynton, Boca, obviously Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Key Biscayne
Copy.
were the only,
Yeah.
and one or two, Okapi, yes, one or two teams, players from Sarasota or Naples coming over. And
Right.
so, these last 2 years, we said, we need to start making all inclusive of the whole state of Florida. So now, along with all the coaches now that are all involved with the team, are now putting this Florida All Star together and now making it North and South. And we're just going to definitely ask the coaches to pick the best of the best from their programs, the U16s and U19s, and then we go represent, on May 15th at the MLR in Atlanta. So that's pretty exciting this year. Alan, you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I think exactly what he said. There's a couple things too that a lot of people don't realize. There's some confusion with ERA and with USA South. And to be honest, what's going on is we're trying to get alignment of a pool of players that will be available to play nationally, internationally. And
Yep.
we've agreed already with, and Chris and I have already had conversations with Salty and about the selection process and how those kids will be communicated going forward. Because what's happened a lot of times, kids get selected on these things and teams aren't even made aware that they're selected to go play in Denver or in Toronto. And all of a sudden you got a league match that's happening. And so we're trying to just, number one, develop the proper representation of pool of players that are available. And then number two, just make sure everybody's doing the same thing and agreeing on the same thing. And it's actually been very, very good. And listen, we're kind of in this proof of concept stage right now, but it'll get better. Everybody's aligned with that. And we're hoping that we have enough players for the North and South. If we don't, then we'll just have one big pool of players, and those will be the pool of players that everybody can select on for all-star programs, for U19 or U18s, I guess, nationally, and U16s and even U14s. So that's just one of the things that we're doing. And over the next several weeks, we will begin to start to formalize, hey, because we know some of the players that we see, and the coaches will start reaching out to other coaches, and then that list will start getting tightened down over time.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing this pandemic has sort of helped with is sort of set the reset button, has given people time to say, how can we do things a little better? And I think not just the Florida youth program, I know USA is, I'm not going to get into details, but I know the USA is really looking at expanding their HPP program, make sure everybody's getting looked at as much as possible, not just at an RCT or at a camp. That no player is sort of going through the holes in the net and going to another sport, and that we find all these hidden gems, whether it's in Florida or any other state. And now, as you mentioned, Chris, May 15th, before the Rugby ATL game, I know we're looking. I think they play the Free Jacks that day after the redone schedule, but they're looking to have a Florida versus Georgia All-Star game. I don't know whether they're going to have 16s or 19s, but that's going to be great exposure for all these kids.
Yeah, big time, and that's what, like Alan said, and you just said too, is that we're trying to get an opportunity for these kids to not just feel separated from the rest of the nation, right? So it's time for and obviously we're having all these colleges and teams, these touring side, these HPP teams come in and contact all the coaches here in Florida now and wanting to be a part of it, like the 404 ATL and Life University or Arkansas State, Queens University. So a lot of these teams now and coaches, they understand that we have the player mix and the talent pool here, and these young kids are growing up and they're just amazing. I saw Key Biscayne the other day when they played us, and those kids started out the same time with Jordan, and so just and Wellington, and just to see those kids grow up now, almost having full beard, it's pretty amazing. And just the way that they've developed and loved the interest of the game, and the conversation you had with Johan, Garth and myself, we've been just really working hard for 6 years to try to get in Boca Raton community because it was all football and soccer, right? The Sabre soccer, and it took 6 years to going into schools like West Boca High, Olympic Heights, Spanish River, middle schools, Boca Community, Omni. So the whole list of those, and it took us a while. But obviously this year with COVID, it kind of messed us up, and our recruiting numbers went down. But we all the old boys came back, and they came back and just did very well.
No, it's an exciting time. When you've got Florida kids that have been playing rugby for 10 or 12 years already, by the time they get to U19s, it's gonna Chris drinking from his tray. It's gonna make a big difference. Colleges want these kids that have played for 10 years and have had a rugby ball in their hand for that long, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate your time and I appreciate the efforts you're putting into improving Florida rugby, especially outside of the state with the Jaguares. And I hope to see. Hopefully, those games will be streamed on May 15th up there in Atlanta, or Marietta, I should say. And we appreciate the work that you guys have done. Thanks for joining us this evening, Alan and Chris.
Good stuff. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Good luck the rest of the way. Oh yeah, go all day. Teddy Chapman, a player who runs that.
Shall I send you the invoice to you or to Teddy? Who should I send it to?
Send Teddy Chapman the invoice. He might not reply to you, but still send it to him. I think he owes us $100 already. But yeah, goallday.com is an athletic apparel company run by Teddy Chapman.
Oh, he'll come around and be a sponsor at some point, of course.
Exactly.
Of course
I'm going to get on it. But thanks, Chris. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate the time.
Guys, take care.
Good stuff there, Charlie. I could talk to those guys all night, and Chris would talk all night. But I'm not going to let him. That's why you have the power to kick him out, and that's what you just did. So I appreciate it. We've been going an hour plus already, so let's get